In the end, 2023 is going to be a very, very small mintage year in comparison to previous years. So, doubling from a very small number, it's while it's significant, it's still, I would argue, going to be a paltry number based upon the demand. And if the demand and the price were, if the price was where it had been prior to 2019 forever, the Silver Eagles, they could have made 50 million Silver Eagles the last 3 years, every single year, and easily sold out of production. So yes, they've come down a lot, and yes, they've been hugely accumulated and scooped up, and yes, premiums are beginning to rise again.
Last year, the U.S. Mint sold slightly less than 16 million one-ounce American Eagle silver coins, a drop of 43.5% from sales of more than 28.2 million coins sold in 2021. U.S. Mint sales had dropped to their lowest level since November and December, when the Mint halted its sales to shift production to 2023 minted coins. Andy Schectman, CEO of Miles Franklin, predicts that 2023 will likely see a minimal mintage of coins compared to previous years. According to the 2023 World Silver Survey, in 2022, the silver market experienced a 0.6% decrease in mine production over 2021, primarily due to lower output from lead and zinc mines that produce silver as a byproduct. If the price of silver had remained at pre-2019 levels, the U.S. Mint could have made 50 million Silver Eagles annually for the past 3 years and still sold out. However, the production numbers have decreased significantly, and despite accumulating large amounts, premiums are on the rise again. Schectman speculates that the U.S. Mint might be controlling the supply to meet demand without fully replenishing it, potentially contributing to rising premiums. He believes that despite some recent availability of silver coins for purchase, the overall supply hasn't normalized and premiums have begun to increase. Regarding the significant demand for silver in various industrial applications, including green and digital technologies, the renowned analyst suggests that the U.S. government might be stockpiling silver strategically for industrial and military needs, which could explain some market dynamics. Now let's watch excerpts from Andy Schectman's interview with Arcadia Economics. Before we start, smash that subscribe button and remember to enable post notifications to stay updated on our latest uploads. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
When you talk about premium, normally it's a function of bringing a blank piece of silver, creating a coin or a bar out of it, stamping it, packaging it, putting it in a box, sending it out to the distributors. All of the costs associated with it would be the premium. Well, you need to also add into it the supply and the demand. And silver has been massively demanded for the last several years, and in the case of the U.S. Mint, woefully undersupplied. So yes, the primary distributors are paying the same price, and they're making a very big premium, huge, more than anyone. The primary distributors who take the allocations from the Mint, I would say, look, I don't blame them. And I know that sounds kind of gross to some people listening. Like, why would anyone pay those exorbitant premiums? They were buying back at super high premiums too. No one ever really asked about that. But by the same token, if you're only getting 20% or less of what is demanded, each one of these primary distributors only getting 20% or less of what is demanded, well, that's what the supply and demand cross represents. A price where supply and demand find equilibrium. Well, that's where they were. That the primary distributors in 2022 wanted 36 million coins and were given 12 million at a certain part during the year. So when you talk about all sorts of shenanigans with the U.S. Mint, I've given up trying to figure out why they've done this, other than in the back of my mind, it would make sense that on behalf of the U.S. government, they are stockpiling silver as an industrial and strategic metal. We've shown its uses in industrial applications, green and digital, but it's also used copiously in military applications and in artillery, missiles, as an example. And when you've given away so much of our stockpile, where we've given away so much of our artillery, and these missiles, the Stinger missiles and the Patriot missiles, all have lots of silver in them, 500 ounces in the tip of a Tomahawk cruise missile. And when you're giving these away to the Ukraine, the need for silver to replenish this grows. And in fact, I just read a report the other day where the Department of Defense cites a shortage in the silver market, to where they're paying $30 an ounce now to get silver for their military applications. So when you talk about an asset that is needed in military and industrial applications that is competing with people all around the world in those capacities, on top of competing with the world in its monetary capacity. If you told me, 20 years from now, when the truth came out that the Mint was stockpiling on behalf of the U.S. government on more of a strategic basis, or withholding the amount of demand, that trying to hold it back, just giving it enough to keep people from revolting so that they could, restock the shelves for the U.S. government, I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know that to be true, but all I can tell you is that for the first time in 4 years, they're reasonable enough to buy, and you've seen a lot of people jump on that, and that's really the reason the premiums are going up. I don't think the supply has normalized. I don't think we're going back to normal, because already we're seeing premiums go up, and we've sold out of everything that we had, and we had a ton, and we won't have our next supply until next week. So it's already getting to that point where I would suspect premiums slowly methodically continue to rise, barring any event that pops it up substantially.
Schectman states that about 7 or 8 leading distributors are responsible for receiving allocations from the U.S. Mint. These distributors then face immense demand from various companies, ranging from large online retailers to local businesses. Due to the limited allocations, premiums for silver coins have risen. According to the renowned analyst, the spread on Silver Eagles is higher due to market dynamics. For instance, some Silver Eagles were purchased at lower premiums when the market differed. However, when new supplies flood the market, the premiums on these coins drop, potentially causing losses for dealers who can't hedge the premium itself. For example, the premium on Silver Eagle coins has continued to climb, indicating buyers willing to pay more to get their hands on the physical metal. Let's get back to the interview.
Yeah, I mean, there's a 7 or 8 primary distributors, and they're the ones that are taking the allocations guaranteed from the U.S. Mint, and then they're the ones that have huge demand for companies like my own and others, all of the major online companies, all the major retailers, all the way down to the local mom and pop, and they're all demanding it, and they're all trying to get it, and they have tiny allocations, so the premiums rise. Well, what if I want to sell? Well, you're going to make it with a $17 ask premium, you're going to get back probably 14, 13. Now, the spread is also much higher on Silver Eagles, and let me explain why. We had a lot of Silver Eagles that we had bought at $9 an ounce when the premiums came crashing down to 4, 5, whatever. And so that's money that you can't hedge, and you get wiped out if you have too big of a position at high premiums as a dealer. And then all of a sudden there's a whole new plethora of supply that dumps on the market just like that. You're wiped out because you can't hedge that premium. You got 100,000 Silver Eagles at a $9 premium that you paid $900,000 in premium. Well, you can hedge the 100,000 ounces of silver. You can't hedge the premium. And if the premiums collapse, well, you eat that. And hopefully you have the capacity to eat that without it destroying you. But it's an issue where there's a half a dozen companies or so who make a market on behalf of the U.S. Mint. And that's where supply and demand found equilibrium. I didn't buy into that. And I was very consistent on all the shows I was on, yours included, saying don't buy them. Look, the U.S. Mint has been very good to me. Prudential Bank nominated us 15 years ago or so as one of the authorized resellers. There's 27 of them. And I like the U.S. Mint. They've defined my career to an extent. But when you're paying those kinds of premiums and you can buy any of the other 5 sovereign mints, the Maple or the Philharmonic or the Kangaroo or the Britannia or the Krugerrand for $4 or $5 over instead of 14 or 15, it's ridiculous. Because my whole career, the difference in all of those coins from the Eagle has never been more than 50 or 75 cents an ounce. When you get up to $12, $13, $14, we have a problem. And I told everyone that for the last few years. This is the first time I've been telling people that they're reasonable enough to buy. And I even traded some of my own gold coins recently to buy them. I wouldn't even have thought about that for the last 3 years. So it's a situation where these primary distributors had people wanting them so bad. Well, if they gave them all to to this guy, then you got 40 other companies that come to you for business that don't get any. So the premiums have to meet equilibrium, find equilibrium with the demand. And if it were only on the ask and not on the bid, I might be a little bit more, I guess, critical of the primary distributors, but that's, as much as I hate to say it, that's capitalism.
The limited mintage and potential supply control by entities like the U.S. Mint may continue to impact the availability and cost of physical silver. However, Metals Focus expects to see 2023 silver mine production increase by 2.4% to reach 842.1 million ounces, while overall global silver supply is rising by 2% to 1.025 billion ounces. What are your thoughts on the role of strategic silver stockpiling in the current silver market landscape? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you found this video informative, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and enable notifications to stay informed about our latest videos on silver, gold, and copper. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate your support.